So today we're going to dive into dopamine. You know, that powerful little chemical in your brain that's basically the engine for your drive, your focus, and your ambition. It's the reason you chase after goals, and it's definitely the reason it feels so good when you finally hit them. But let me ask you this. Ever have one of those days, or maybe even a whole week, where you just feel foggy, kind of flat, and completely unmotivated? You know exactly what you're supposed to be doing, but you just can't summon the energy to even get started. Yeah, if that feeling is hitting a little too close to home, trust me, you are not alone. Low motivation, crazy cravings for sugar, that feeling of mental exhaustion, and just a general lack of pleasure, these are all classic signs that your dopamine system might be a little out of whack. And this isn't just a mood, it's your actual biology at play. So let's formally meet the molecule at the very heart of this feeling, dopamine. We're going to break down exactly what this neurotransmitter, which is really just a fancy word for chemical messenger in your brain, is and what it's doing for you. You see, dopamine gets a bad rap sometimes. It's often called just the pleasure chemical. But honestly, that's not the whole story. It's really your drive and reward neurotransmitter. It's in charge of everything from your ambition and focus to your energy levels. And here's the key part. It fuels your desire to go after success in the first place, not just the celebration you have after you get there. So, how does this motivation engine actually run? Let's pop the hood and get into the mechanics of how your body creates and uses this absolutely crucial molecule. The whole life cycle of dopamine can actually be broken down into four pretty simple steps. You've got synthesis, which is where it's made, then release, when it's used, binding, where it delivers its message, and finally removal. Think of that as the cleanup crew. So let's just quickly walk through each one. Okay, step one, synthesis. It all starts with something called tyrosine. It's an amino acid that you get from eating protein-rich foods. Your body then takes that tyrosine and converts it into dopamine using some essential helpers or cofactors like B vitamins and iron. That's right, your motivation literally starts with what's on your dinner plate. All right, now for the action. Steps 2 and 3, release and binding. So when something good happens, you check an item off your to-do list, someone gives you a compliment, your brain cells release dopamine across this tiny little gap. It then latches onto receptors on the next cell, and boom, it delivers that classic hit of motivation and focus. This is the magic moment. And finally, after that message is sent, the dopamine gets cleared away. It's either vacuumed back up to be used again later, or it's broken down by enzymes. This cleanup process is so critical for keeping the whole system balanced and ready for the next signal. And that brings us to a really crucial point. With dopamine, it is all about balance. This isn't about having as much of it as you possibly can. It's about having the right amount at the right time. I mean, just look at the two extremes. With too little dopamine, the world can start to feel, well, gray. You're tired, unmotivated, and in some conditions like Parkinson's, even movement itself can slow down. But on the flip side, way too much can lead to things like impulsivity, addiction, and in really severe cases, even psychosis. So it's pretty clear that balance is everything. I absolutely love this quote. Dopamine's power lies not in constant pleasure, but in balance, the tension between pursuit and satisfaction. It just perfectly reminds us that dopamine is really the molecule of wanting more. It's all about the motivation to chase the goals, not just the pleasure of finally catching them. And get this, dopamine's job doesn't even stop in the brain. It's also the direct starting material for your body's main stress hormones, like adrenaline. So you can think of it as the very first domino that falls in that whole fight or flight response. This directly links your motivation system to your stress system. Pretty wild, right? Okay, so knowing how it works and how it's tied to stress, what can we actually do about it? How can we support our dopamine system naturally? Let's get into the practical, actionable stuff. First and foremost, you can literally eat for better dopamine. I mean, since it all starts with that amino acid tyrosine, the most direct way to support production is to make sure you're giving your body the raw materials it needs to build it. So here are some of the all-stars for your shopping list. You've got animal proteins like turkey and eggs, which are just packed with tyrosine. Then you have things like beets, leafy greens, and avocados that provide all those essential helper molecules, the cofactors, that we were talking about earlier. And hey, it's not all about what you eat. Simple habits can make a huge difference.
Getting some sunlight, for example, actually increases the density of your dopamine receptors. That means you get more bang for your buck from the dopamine you already have. And on the mental side, the key is to celebrate the small wins. That action directly lights up those dopamine reward pathways we just learned about.
Now, here's a fact that might actually surprise you. About half of your body's dopamine is produced in your gut. Yup, your gut. This is such a powerful reminder that your brain health and your gut health are completely, totally connected. When you take care of one, you're taking care of the other. All right, let's pull all this great information together into a simple, practical toolkit that you can start using to support your motivation like every single day. First off, it's just as important to know what to avoid. Our modern lives are filled with dopamine hijackers. Endless social media scrolling, constant notifications, and way too much sugar. These things give you these cheap, easy hits that just flood your system, and over time, your receptors get tired and become less sensitive. That means you need a bigger and bigger hit to feel that same level of reward. Now, for those who feel like they might need a little extra support, certain supplements can be really helpful. So L-tyrosine, for instance, provides the direct raw material. Vitamin B6 is like a critical worker on the production line, and then others like rhodiola, which is an adaptogen that helps your body deal with stress, can just help the whole system run more smoothly. And if you're feeling really overstimulated, you might want to consider a dopamine detox. Now, it sounds intense, but it doesn't have to be. It can just be a deliberate break from the really potent stuff like your phone and TV. This gives your receptors a chance to reset, which lets you feel pleasure and motivation from simpler, more natural things again.
So let's wrap it all up. Here's a super simple 3-point action plan. Just aim for one meal that's rich in protein, try to get just 15 minutes of sunlight or some kind of movement, and at the end of the day, consciously acknowledge one small thing you got done. That's it. So simple, but incredibly powerful.
And that leaves me with one final question for you to really think about. After everything we've talked about today, what is one small win, no matter how tiny it seems, that you are going to acknowledge and celebrate today?